In every age, people have asked the same questions. What is the good life? How should we treat one another? What does it mean to be free or virtuous or just? What does it mean to be human? Western moral philosophy for beginners and Selenius Media takes you on a guided journey through the minds that shaped the moral backbone of the West, from the earliest Greek thinkers to the modern age. Lived stories of struggle, ambition, conflict, revelation, all unfolding against the sweep of history. If you've ever wanted to understand philosophy clearly, calmly, and humanly, if you want to know not just what these thinkers argued, but why it mattered, follow Western moral philosophy for beginners today and explore 10 more podcasts at Selenius Media. Aristotle, a towering figure in ancient Greek philosophy, lived from 384 to 322 BCE and is renowned for his profound influence on various fields, including ethics, politics, and metaphysics. His work laid foundational ideas that continue to shape moral philosophy today. While we previously explored his life and aspirations, this episode delves deeper into Aristotle's moral philosophy, particularly focusing on his key concepts articulated in major texts like the Nicomachean Ethics and the Eudemian Ethics. Aristotle's ethical framework is often encapsulated in what is known as virtue ethics. At the heart of his moral philosophy is the concept of eudaimonia, a term often translated as happiness or flourishing. For Aristotle, the ultimate purpose of human life is to achieve eudaimonia, which represents a state of living well and fulfilling one's potential. Unlike mere pleasure, Aristotle's idea of happiness is a deeper, more meaningful condition achieved through virtuous living. He argues that to attain eudaimonia, individuals must cultivate virtues, which are character traits that enable one to act in accordance with reason. In the Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle outlines two types of virtues, moral and intellectual. Moral virtues, such as courage, temperance, and generosity, are developed through habit and practice. They lie in the mean between two extremes, excess and deficiency. For instance, courage is the mean between recklessness and cowardice. Intellectual virtues, on the other hand, such as wisdom and understanding, are cultivated through teaching and learning. One of Aristotle's most significant contributions to moral philosophy is his notion of the golden mean. He asserts that virtues exist between deficiencies and excesses. To illustrate this concept, consider the virtue of courage once again. A person who engages in dangerous behavior excessively is considered reckless, while someone who is overly cautious is deemed cowardly. The virtuous person, however, finds the balance. This idea invites a nuanced approach to ethics, sidestepping rigid moral rules in favor of a more flexible understanding of what a good life entails. Let's explore Aristotle's arguments regarding particular virtues, especially in political and legal contexts. In matters of justice, for instance, Aristotle categorized it into two types: distributive and corrective justice. Distributive justice concerns the fair allocation of resources in society based on merit and needs, ensuring that individuals receive their due based on their contributions. Corrective justice, however, focuses on rectifying wrongs, restoring balance when unfair actions occur. Aristotle contended that a just society is one that achieves a balanced distribution of resources among its citizens, while also having mechanisms to correct injustices. This perspective is particularly salient in contemporary discussions about wealth distribution and social justice. For example, debates on taxation often revolve around the question of fairness in how resources are allocated. Should those with more means contribute more to communal resources? Aristotle's insights can guide modern policymakers in navigating these complex ethical dilemmas. Now consider the healthcare sector, where Aristotle's emphasis on virtue might apply to medical practitioners. In this context, virtues such as compassion, honesty, and temperance become crucial for doctors, who must balance their medical knowledge with the ethical treatment of patients. The ideal physician, according to Aristotle's framework, is one who strives for the mean, acting properly with both skill and care. Thus, a doctor who aggressively prescribes treatments, excess, or who avoids necessary interventions out of fear, deficiency, risks failing their patients. While Aristotle's virtue ethics provide helpful insights, it is not without criticisms. Some argue that his moral framework relies heavily on an idealized version of human nature, suggesting that people will consistently strive for virtue, which may not always hold in real life. Critics point out that Aristotle's model does not provide clear rules or procedures for moral decision-making, potentially leaving individuals lost in ethical dilemmas where rights and wrongs are not easily discernible. Moreover, criticisms have emerged around Aristotle's view of women and slavery, which reflect the societal norms of his time. He often posited that women and slaves were inferior to men, suggesting that they lacked the rational capacities necessary for full moral agency. Such views have faced significant critique by later philosophers, including figures like Immanuel Kant and John Stuart Mill, who emphasized individual rights and equality. While Aristotle believed in the moral worth of virtuous actions leading to community welfare, later thinkers pushed for a more universal approach to ethics that prioritizes individual autonomy and consent. Connecting Aristotle's ideas to later thinkers, we find a dialogue that shapes the history of moral philosophy. For instance, René Descartes and Kant both reacted to Aristotelian ethics in their distinct ways, focusing instead on reason and duty, emphasizing the importance of universal principles over individual virtues. Kantian ethics, with its categorical imperative, underscores the universality of moral laws, contrasting sharply with Aristotle's situational approach to ethics and virtue. This divergence between Aristotle's context and Kant's deontological philosophy illustrates the evolving landscape of Western moral thought. Examining Aristotle's thoughts on virtue and moral character naturally leads us to consider how these ideas resonate with contemporary issues. Think about a tech company deciding how to implement artificial intelligence. The ethical implications of AI, accountability, bias, and fairness mirror Aristotle's reflections on justice and virtue. If engineers and developers cultivate virtues such as diligence and integrity, they may contribute to designing systems that align better with human flourishing, minimizing biases while prioritizing user well-being. In this way, Aristotle's ideas remain relevant, providing a foundation for evaluating decisions within the rapidly evolving technological landscape. As we reflect on how Aristotle's philosophy can apply to our own lives, it is important to think about our actions in light of our moral character. What virtues do we strive to cultivate, and how do they influence our choices? Are we seeking the golden mean in our daily interactions, relationships, and responsibilities? Aristotle's emphasis on practical wisdom reminds us that virtuous living is not only a theoretical discourse, but a practical guide to the challenges we face in modern life. In sum, Aristotle's moral philosophy invites us to consider our actions, virtues, and capacity for eudaimonia as we navigate the complexities of the human experience. His insights about moral character, justice, and the pursuit of a balanced life continue to inspire and challenge us, urging us to reflect on our values and how we can live virtuously in today's world. As we continue this exploration of Western moral philosophy, let us remember the importance of examining our ethical foundations and striving for a life that is not only successful, but meaningful. Exploring the depths of Aristotle's moral philosophy reveals not only the complexity of his ideas, but the enduring relevance of his thoughts in various domains of modern life. Central to this exploration is his concept of practical wisdom, or phronesis, which Aristotle elevates as essential for living a virtuous life. Practical wisdom is the ability to make sound judgments in particular circumstances, bridging the gap between general ethical principles and the nuances of day-to-day decision-making. It is not merely about having knowledge, but about applying that knowledge in practical ways that promote eudaimonia, a term that embodies human flourishing. Aristotle contrasts intellectual virtues like wisdom with moral virtues, emphasizing that moral virtues are cultivated through habit. This distinction is critical because it places the onus on individuals to actively engage in their moral development. By consistently making choices that reflect virtue, individuals shape their character over time. This process can be likened to developing a skill in sports or music. Just as one becomes a better athlete or musician through practice, one becomes more virtuous through the deliberate exercise of moral choices. This notion can guide modern individuals when considering how to enhance their ethical awareness and integrity in their personal and professional lives. Furthermore, Aristotle's exploration of friendship in the Nicomachean Ethics dovetails with his ethical theory, revealing yet another layer to his thoughts on moral character. He categorizes friendships into three types: those based on utility, those based on pleasure, and those grounded in virtue. The highest form of friendship, according to Aristotle, is that which exists between individuals who recognize and actively strive towards virtuous living. These relationships, founded on shared values and mutual esteem, foster personal growth and moral development, rather than serving merely utilitarian or hedonistic ends. For instance, consider the workplace, a setting where different types of relationships flourish. Friendships based on utility might involve working with a colleague solely to advance a project, while friendships based on virtue can enhance a positive company culture, encouraging coworkers to support each other in their ethical and professional development. Aristotle points out that virtuous friendships contribute to personal happiness and eudaimonia as they reflect and reinforce the values that one cherishes. This connection serves as a reminder of the importance of surrounding ourselves with those who inspire us to become better individuals. As we once again scrutinize Aristotle's views through a modern lens, his ideas illustrate how vital it is to engage with ethical deliberation in our lives. The rise of social media provides a compelling context for this exploration of friendships based on virtue. In an age where online relationships can often merge and confuse the types of friendships Aristotle delineates, it becomes essential to reflect on how we engage with others. Are our interactions with colleagues, acquaintances, and even strangers fostering virtues, or are they merely superficial connections? As Aristotle might suggest, the quality of these relationships significantly affects our moral character, shaping how we behave and think about ourselves and others. In his contributions to political ethics, Aristotle advocates for a polity that reflects a mix of different classes, underscoring the importance of a balanced government in achieving the common good. Unlike Plato, who idealized a philosopher king in a rigidly structured society, Aristotle believed that a successful city-state, what he called a polis, depends on broad participation. He argued that having diverse voices and perspectives engages citizens in ethics and cultivates a sense of shared moral community. This notion receives fresh resonance in contemporary democratic systems. Modern participatory politics often grapples with questions about representation and inclusion. Aristotle's views remind us of the essence of civic engagement, urging us to consider the moral responsibilities leaders hold towards marginalized voices or communities. When discussing issues like healthcare, environmental policy, or social justice, Aristotle's foundation of civic virtue can serve as a philosophical framework for advocates and policymakers alike. Are policies developed and decisions made in ways that genuinely consider the well-being of all citizens? This continued relevance of Aristotle's ethics serves not only as a theoretical guideline, but as a practical inquiry that invites reflection on the effectiveness of contemporary governance. Yet we must acknowledge the limitations and criticisms surrounding Aristotle's political philosophy, particularly concerning his acceptance of slavery and his views on women. Aristotle rationalized a society that accepted slavery based on his belief that some people are natural slaves, lacking the rational capacity required for moral deliberation. These ideologically flawed positions stand in sharp contrast to contemporary values regarding equality and human rights. While later thinkers like John Stuart Mill and Karl Marx critiqued these views, arguing for the inherent dignity and rights of all individuals, Aristotle's overall approach to ethics, emphasizing the importance of virtue and the common good, still offers fertile ground for modern political discourse. As we consider the intersection of Aristotle's ideas with current challenges, issues surrounding artificial intelligence and technology also come into play. The rapid advancement of AI has sparked ethical debates regarding autonomy, bias, and accountability. Aristotle's emphasis on virtue ethics can inform discussions about the design and deployment of technology to ensure it promotes human flourishing rather than undermining it. Consider the development of algorithms that can influence hiring practices or law enforcement decisions. If those involved in creating technology embody virtues such as fairness and responsibility, they can better grasp the moral implications of their work, leading to innovations aligned with ethical principles. Moreover, Aristotle's views on the importance of community resonate in contemporary debates surrounding public health, particularly evident during the global pandemic. In situations requiring collective responsibility, mask wearing, vaccination, and appropriate social conduct, Aristotle's notion of the common good encourages individuals to prioritize collective well-being alongside their own. This aligns with his vision of a just society where ethical living manifests in actions contributing to the health and happiness of all, rather than just individual benefits. As we engage with these modern implications, it is crucial to think about how Aristotle's emphasis on virtue and moral character affects our everyday interactions and decisions. Reflecting on his notions of friendship, practical wisdom, and community can serve as guiding principles when navigating moral dilemmas. When considering your choices in personal or professional contexts, ask yourself, which virtues ye wish to embody? Are you prioritizing friendships that enrich your moral development? Are you making decisions that reflect not only your values, but also a commitment to the well-being of those around you? Aristotle encourages us to view life not just as a series of choices, but as an opportunity for character formation. His conviction that ethical living cultivates a fulfilling, meaningful existence invites us to engage in ongoing self-reflection. This reflection extends beyond mere intentions to include actions. How our choices shape our community, influence our character, and contribute to the greater good. In concluding our deep dive into Aristotle's moral philosophy, it's essential to appreciate the richness and nuance of his thinking, its ability to transcend time and remain relevant in our modern context. By understanding Aristotle's concepts of virtue, moral character, and practical wisdom, we gain insights into navigating the complexities of human relationships, social justice, and technological advancements. His ideas challenge us to cultivate our character and maintain a commitment to virtuous living, urging us to reflect on our responsibilities within our communities. As you move forward in your own life, consider Aristotle's invitation to examine the virtues you wish to uphold. How can you act in ways that promote eudaimonia, both for yourself and those around you? Reflect on the nature of your friendships and their impact on your personal growth. In a world marked by rapid change and ethical ambiguity, Aristotle's teachings remind us that at the heart of a good life lies a commitment to virtue, wisdom, and the pursuit of the common good. While Aristotle's contributions to ethics through his virtue ethics framework provide rich ground for inquiry, his moral philosophy also emphasizes the role of habituation in developing virtues, a notion that leads us to explore how moral character is shaped by our environment and choices. According to Aristotle, virtues are not innate traits that one is born with, but rather qualities that must be practiced and nurtured through repeated actions. The process of habituation underscores the importance of the community in cultivating virtue, as the values and norms of one's social context can significantly influence individual behavior. This idea invites us to reflect on the environments in which we thrive and grow. For example, consider education. Aristotle advocated for the role of education in shaping moral character, arguing that the cultivation of virtues should begin in childhood. Schools, then, are not merely institutions for academic learning. They serve as crucial spaces for moral development. He believed that children should not only be taught facts, but also exposed to moral and ethical frameworks that would guide their actions throughout life. These teachings would ideally embed in students the habits of integrity, respect, and responsibility. Today, as we navigate challenges such as bullying, mental health, or civic engagement in schools, Aristotle's insights can help inform our approach to fostering environments that promote moral development. For instance, anti-bullying programs that encourage empathy and respect among peers align closely with Aristotle's emphasis on moral habit. Schools that prioritize character education and include discussions about ethical decision-making not only prepare students academically, but also equip them with the virtues needed to cultivate a flourishing society. Aristotle's practice of virtuous living emphasizes the importance of role models in the process of habituation. The ideal virtuous individual acts as an exemplar whose behavior others can emulate. This belief resonates in the context of leadership within organizations, workplaces, and communities. Leaders who embody and promote virtues such as transparency, justice, and empathy set the tone for those around them, fostering a culture that values moral integrity. This ripple effect is essential in shaping a collective moral compass that supports ethical behavior across communities, enhancing overall well-being. Moving towards a more profound understanding of community, we must consider how Aristotle viewed the relationship between individuals and the polis, or the city-state. He believed that the polis was not merely a framework for governance, but a natural extension of human sociality, where citizens work together for the common good. This idea becomes crucial in contemporary discussions about citizenship and civic responsibility. In an age where political polarization and social disconnection are prevalent, Aristotle's emphasis on active citizenship, participating in community affairs, and striving for the common good invites us to reconsider our roles in society. How do we embody citizenship in modern life? Aristotle would likely argue that active involvement is fundamental to living a virtuous life. This could take numerous forms, from voting and community service to engaging in local governance and social movements. As citizens, our moral actions can cultivate a sense of community that aligns with Aristotle's vision of the flourishing city-state. When individuals prioritize the common good, a virtuous cycle of engagement, support, and moral development emerges, leading to healthier, more equitable communities. Aristotle's thought also extends to the realm of politics, where he articulates a nuanced understanding of justice that remains pertinent today. He believed that justice involves giving individuals their due, both in terms of distributive justice, fair allocation of resources, and corrective justice, addressing wrongs and restoring balance. This duality presents a valuable framework for understanding contemporary social justice movements, which seek to rectify historical inequalities and advocate for marginalized groups. For instance, movements addressing systemic racism, gender equality, and economic disparity echo Aristotle's principles of justice. By promoting a fair distribution of resources and recognition of individual rights, these movements strive for a society that embodies the flourishing Aristotle envisioned. His call for justice invites us to critically examine our societal structures and consider how we can advocate for more equitable systems that serve the needs of all individuals. In addition to politics and community, Aristotle's moral philosophy has profound implications for personal ethics. His emphasis on the importance of virtue in achieving eudaimonia raises essential questions about individual choices and moral responsibility. In our fast-paced, gratification-driven society, the challenge remains to cultivate virtues that facilitate meaningful lives. Reflecting on Aristotle, we must ask ourselves, what virtues are at the forefront of our lives? Are we striving for balance in our choices, or are we swayed by excesses and deficiencies? Consider the ethical implications of consumerism, which has reached unprecedented levels in contemporary society. Aristotle's golden mean might prompt individuals to evaluate their purchasing habits in terms of moderation, encouraging sustainable consumption that does not lead to the wastefulness of excess, nor the deprivation of deficiency. The practical wisdom he espouses can guide consumers to make choices that align with their values and contribute to their broader well-being and the health of their community. Aristotle's insights extend further into the realm of technology and its moral dimensions. As we engage with the rapid developments in artificial intelligence and data ethics, an Aristotelian lens can illuminate the way we approach technology. How do we balance innovation with ethical considerations? An emphasis on cultivating virtues such as responsibility and foresight in developers and organizations can lead to responsible technological advancements that consider the impact on society. For example, as AI systems are designed to make decisions, instilling a commitment to justice and fairness in their development processes can help mitigate biases and promote equity. Aristotle's reflections also resonate in current discourses surrounding environmental ethics. As concerns around climate change and ecological degradation intensify, his notion of the common good catalyzes a discussion about our responsibilities toward the planet. Sustainable practices that prioritize the health of the environment can be seen as modern manifestations of Aristotle's commitment to justice, where the needs of future generations and the well-being of nature are aligned with the flourishing of human life. Here, the virtue of temperance becomes crucial as we reconsider our relationship with natural resources and advocate for practices that respect the Earth's limits. Despite the enduring relevance of Aristotle's moral philosophy, the limitations and challenges of his ideas warrant scrutiny. Critics have pointed out that his virtue ethics can sometimes lack clear guidance in situations requiring ethical dilemmas, particularly when individuals face competing virtues or values. While Aristotle's framework encourages flexibility and an understanding of context, it can lead to ambiguity when determining the right course of action. This becomes even more complex in diverse societies, where varying cultural norms and ethical perspectives exist. Moreover, modern critiques concerning Aristotle's views on women and marginalized groups imply that his ethical framework does not adequately address issues of equality and justice for all individuals. The assertion that certain social hierarchies reflect natural differences undermines the universal moral agency that later thinkers like Kant advocate. This critique invites further exploration of how different ethical frameworks can complement or contrast with one another in addressing moral complexity. As Aristotle's moral philosophy engages with modernity, it enriches discussions about human existence's ethical dimensions. The ongoing dialogue about ethical behavior, character development, and the cultivation of virtue invites contemporary thinkers to examine how we define justice and well-being in a rapidly changing world. This journey into Aristotle's thought reveals that moral philosophy is not merely an abstract exercise, but an active pursuit, an opportunity to reflect on how we navigate our lives and relations within broader social contexts. In grappling with Aristotle's contributions, we discover an invitation to embrace lifelong learning and moral growth. His emphasis on practical wisdom encourages us to view ethical living as a dynamic and ongoing process, one requiring self-reflection, community engagement, and a commitment to identifying and nurturing the virtues we wish to embody. As we consider our own moral journeys, let us remain mindful of our choices and their impact. Both personally and collectively, the ideas articulated by Aristotle urge us to cultivate a virtuous life marked by balance, justice, and communal flourishing. As we conclude this deep dive into Aristotle's moral philosophy, we are reminded that ethical living is inherently tied to our social environments and relationships. His insights compel us to evaluate our responsibilities to ourselves, our communities, and the world around us. In engaging with these ideas, we can aspire to lead lives rich in meaning, guided by values that resonate with both personal and collective aspirations for harmony and well-being. Thus, the challenge remains: how will you incorporate virtue into your life today? How can you contribute to a flourishing community that embodies the common good? These questions reflect the essence of Aristotle's enduring legacy, inviting us to reflect, act, and seek the path of virtue in our own lives.
Midnight rails under silver moon, dusty boots on a winding road. A shadow's the only friend I've known since she packed up and let me go. Empty whiskey bottle on the seat, her laugh still echoes in my bones. Saddle's heavy with memories. I ride alone where the wind still blows. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Sunrise paints the horizon gold, but it don't warm a lonesome soul. Every town I pass feels half her size. Every trail's haunted by goodbye. I whisper prayers to open skies, hoping someday my heart'll find a brand new path beyond the pain, where broken hearts can heal in time. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere nowhere else to be.